How do you grieve someone that you didn't like? How do you grieve someone that you had a toxic relationship with? For me, it was my dad. Me and my father did not see eye to eye all the time. Me and my father had a very toxic relationship, and I had to learn to set boundaries at a young age. I always, the Christian in me, the Catholic in me, I've always had a level of respect for him because at the end of the day, thou shalt honor thy father and thy mother. So I've always attempted to have a level of respect for him, and loved him. I've always tried to reach out to him. I always try to contact him. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I called him, I invited him to the baby shower so he could come, but he never wanted to be a part of my world. And ultimately, I had to learn to make a funeral for him and just say, you know what, this is how it is. I can't change anybody, but I have to protect myself, my family, my daughter, and I want to make sure that my daughter doesn't get the same experience from him that I received. Toward his end of life, my mom encouraged me to be there for my brother, the best way that I could. And I did have to explain to her that I'm I'm okay. And I was okay. I did not cry over him. I didn't shed a tear over him, but I was sad for the people that loved him and had that relationship with him. It was heartbreaking to see them sad, to see my mom cry, to see my brother have to, lose that family member. But I had already went through it because of the toxicity that we went through. But I had to deal with anger. I had to deal with resentment. I had to deal with frustration. I had to deal with a lot of things that that were hiding for a long time and came to surface, and I had to learn, how do I deal with that? How do I move past it? Why did these things happen? Why did our relationship have to be the way that it was? I was already in therapy for my sister, and I was, being more active in the church, but I still had those feelings, and I would pray to God about them and help me see why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. And ultimately, it was because I still held those things in my heart, and I had to learn how to let them go. I couldn't free myself of those things without fully processing them and saying, hey, this happened to you. It's okay that it happened to you because it made you into who you were. This is the experience that you had to deal with, and that's okay. Write a letter to your younger self at each phase of your life, apologizing, saying that I'm sorry that you weren't taken care of. I'm sorry that you didn't have that father in your life that cared for you in that way, that looked after you in that way. But you have a father that is here to protect you and guard you now. And I leaned into Christ a little bit more. I leaned into my father, and it helped. It helped. But at the same time, I felt like I still wanted that in the physical world, in a physical form, to feel that compassion and to feel that love from a father, because that's something I never got to experience. I myself am still learning how to deal with that type of grief, right? I'm still learning that it's okay for me to love my dad, even though we didn't have a great relationship while he was living. It's okay for me to say I did love my dad, even though he was the way that he was. It's okay for me to be that way and not feel like I'm being fake about it, you know? A lot of people may say, well, you didn't have that relationship with him while he was living, or you didn't have that relationship with your sister while she was here, so why do you care so much now? What difference does that make? That doesn't change who they were in your life at the end of the day. And I give myself permission to redefine the terms of how I grieve and how I want that relationship to be in my life now, because it's not something that you could just push down and it's never going to come back. I'd rather deal with it how I'm going to deal with it to help myself push forward, because at the end of the day, I'm here. They're not. And I'm sharing my story because I don't want you to feel bad for me. I want you to learn from me, right? And I'm blessed to say that my father-in-law, my dad, my grandfather, they are the example of a father's love. And I love to see that. Even my pastor and his family and how he loves on his daughters, just seeing those things really warm my heart. And I reciprocate that back to God. And I just say, God loves me just like that. And once I started putting those two things together, I started to realize, like, how much God really does love me to get me through that point and being of a sound body and mind. I only want that for those who are grieving someone that they disliked. And it's okay to be honest with you. Pushing those feelings down is not going to go away. They're going to come back in some form, some way. So it's better for you to get through it and come out on the other side even better. I hope it helps.